Hey guys, it's Luke on Sean's channel. Today I'll be showcasing a Conclave Control build. For those who don't know, Conclave Control is a new strategy of Crystal Beast that came out with the new structure decks. So it's a very cool control way to play Crystal Beast, so I'll just do the deck profile now. Let's get into it. Try to make this as quick as possible because I don't really have a side deck for this. This is pretty much just a fun sort of deck I like to play, but the deck is very much rogue, so you can bring this to locals, you can bring it to tournaments and probably have a lot of fun with it and actually see a good bit of success with the deck. I mostly just use this for fun, so it's not really as competitive as it probably could be. There's no side deck or anything like that, so let's just jump right in. We have the one copy of Rainbow Dragon. We never summon this card. Rainbow Dragon's only in this deck because we searched off of Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon and we need Rainbow Dragon in our hand in order to activate our Awakening of the Crystal Ultimateness. 3 copies of Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon. This was a great bit of support that we got from Ghost from the Past 2. It's a 3000 attack dragon monster. Also known as a Crystal Beast monster, so if this card in face of monster zone is destroyed, you can place it face up in your spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell. Good thing about Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragons, if an attack is declared involving one of your other Crystal Beast monsters while he's in your hand, you can actually just special summon it out to the field. Also, say if Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon is face up in your spell and trap card zone, what you can actually do is that you can banish him. Then you can special summon a Crystal Beast monster from your deck and then add a copy of Rainbow Dragon to your hand. That's why it's essential to run this guy at 3. The only other Crystal Beast that's worth running at 3 is Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus. Sapphire Pegasus is an 1800 attack level 4 wind Crystal Beast that when this card is summoned, you can place one Crystal Beast monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard face up in your spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell. It also has the effect that, like many other Crystal Beasts, if it's destroyed in the monster zone, you can place it in your spell and trap card zone face up as a continuous spell. This is really handy because with Sapphire Pegasus, if he's just summoned, you can easily get your Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon face up in spell and trap card zone and then kind of pop off from there by banishing to bring out either another Sapphire Pegasus, one of your other Crystal Beast monsters, or whatever, then add that Rainbow Dragon to your hand. It's definitely essential to run 3 Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus in this build. Only 1 copy of Ruby Carbuncle. This is pretty standard for almost all of the Conclave Control builds. Ruby Carbuncle is, when she's special summoned, you can special summon as many of your Crystal Beast monster cards as possible from your spell and trap card zone. So if she's special summoned and you have a bunch of Crystal Beast monsters in spell and trap card zone, you can pretty much flood the field and pop off from there. Some people like to leave it at that with the Crystal Beast monster, but I run 1 copy of Crystal Beast Cobalt Eagle. 2 reasons for this. He's another level 4 for our rank plays. It's just another Crystal Beast that we can special summon. Also the fact that he's a wind, it's also good for if we're going into our wind charmer link. Which we have a very funny thing we can do with this deck, which I'll explain a little bit later. Talking hand traps now, we don't care about our graveyard at all, pretty much, so 3 copies of Dimensional Shifter is very good in this build. Dimensional Shifter can really fuck up a lot of decks. So for those who don't know what Dimensional Shifter does, if you have no cards in your graveyard, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, and to the end of the next turn, any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. Since it's a quick effect, you can activate it during your opponent's turn, and if we're going first, second, we don't really care. Dimensional Shifter is just very good to have in this build to really fuck up your opponent. So you have good hand traps to fuck up your opponent. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, definitely good to run 3 of in this deck. Ash Blossom is definitely the most universal hand traps, for she stops your opponent from adding a card from your deck to their hand, from special summon monster from deck, and sending a card from the deck to the graveyard. Definitely running at 3. And the fact that it comes with the structure decks means that it's all the more cheaper to just build this version of the deck. That rounds off the monsters. We'll go into the spells now. We only run 1 copy of Crystal Bond. It even feels weird saying that because my other sort of like rank 4 Crystal Beast build, I run 3 copies of Crystal Bond because I find it to be such a good card. It's honestly one of the best searcher for an archetype there is. Crystal Bond, what it does is you can add 1 Crystal Beast monster from your deck to your hand, and then place 1 Crystal Beast monster with a different name from your deck, and place a face up in your spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell. So what's good about this is you can easily just add your Sapphire Pegasus to your hand, and then you can place your Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon face up in the spell and trap card zone. which is great because then you could just normal summon your Sapphire Pegasus and put another Crystal Beast face up in your spell and trap card zone, like Ruby Carbuncle, Cobalt Eagle, it doesn't really matter. So it's very good at getting your Crystal Beast to be consistent in your hand and in your spell and trap card zone. So it's very good to run it at 1. Another reason to run it at 1 is because we can search it off of Rainbow Bridge. Rainbow Bridge is great, it's just add 1 crystal spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Okay, Rainbow Bridge the Heart. This card is fucking insane. Definitely the best bit of support that came out of the structure deck. Best support that was given to an archetype in ages, period, I'd say. So it's a continuous spell and it has like 20 different effects, but I'll just read it out for you now. So we'll try and keep up with it. So during the main phase, you can normal summon 1 Crystal Beast monster in addition to your normal summon / set this turn. Also during your main phase, you can destroy 1 Crystal Beast card that you control or that's in your hand, and if you do, you can add 1 Crystal Spell Trap from your deck to your hand. Just another way that we can get our Crystal Bond or Awakening the Crystal Ultimateness. And of course, how can I forget Crystal Miracle? Also, if a Crystal Beast card is placed in your spell and trap card zone while this card is face up, you can target 1 card your opponent controls, return both that card and this card to your hand. So it's a good way to sort of bounce back as well. So yeah, really good, crazy piece of support. Definitely needed to run a 3 for this build. Honestly, I don't think this deck would be at all possible without this card right here. Now, as for mentioned, Awakening of Crystal Ultimates. So for this card to activate, you need to reveal 1 Ultimate Crystal monster in your hand, then activate 1 of the following effects. Now the Ultimate Crystal monster that we have in our hand is going to be Rainbow Dragon, which of course can easily be searched by using the banishing effect of Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon from the spell and trap card zone. So you can only activate 1 of these effects. You can take 1 Rainbow Bridge card or 1 Rainbow Refraction from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. So it's really good to get either Rainbow Bridge or Rainbow Bridge of the Heart. Also, its secondary effect, if you want to use that instead, is you can special summon 1 Crystal Beast monster card from your hand or deck, from your hand, deck, or graveyard, excuse me, or you can special summon 1 Crystal Beast monster card from your hand, deck, graveyard, or your spell and trap card zone. So it's very good to sort of like storm the field if you want to go into a rank 4s or want to go into a rank plays or even link plays. Going into those 2 1-0s, we have Call by the Grave and also Harpie's Feather Duster. Harpie's Feather Duster destroy all spell and trap cards your opponent controls. Call by the Grave is good so we don't get interrupted. You target 1 monster your opponent's graveyard, banish it, and if you do until the end of your next turn, the effects are negated of monsters with that same name on the field and in the grave. So Call by the Grave and Harpie is definitely good 1-ups to run in this deck. You run 2 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. Foolish Burial Goods is kind of doesn't pair well with our Dimension Shifter, but Foolish Burial Goods is very important in this deck because the only thing you're really going to be dumping off of it is Rainbow Bridge of Salvation. Now, for those of you who don't know, Rainbow Bridge Salvation is very good because if it's in the graveyard, you can banish it and then you can add 1 field spell from your deck to your hand. And it's any field spell. It doesn't necessarily need to be a Crystal Beast field spell, honestly because most of them are shit. So it's good to search out any field spell at all. Considering Mystic Mind is banned, we can't do that at all. So 2 great field spells I run in this build is definitely Necrovalley. So Necrovalley is great because it basically, besides all the Gravekeeper stuff that it does, any card that's in the graveyard stays in the graveyard, it cannot be moved. So basically your opponent cannot be banishing stuff from the graveyard, can't be adding cards from their graveyard to their hand, nothing. If it's in the graveyard, it's stuck in the graveyard. This can be devastating to a lot of decks, such as at the time when Terra Elements was still relevant, Terra Elements it could be very crippling for the likes of anything that uses the likes of Miracle Fusion, so like your heroes are kind of cut out. It can also be devastating to a bunch of branded builds as well, so definitely run Necrovalley. Could even be worth the while running 2 Necrovalley, but one thing that I think is very, very good, but you need to be very careful when you're using it, is I run 1 copy of Secret Village of Spellcasters. Now if I had a side deck for this build, I would put Secret Village of Spellcasters in the side deck, but since I'm just using this as fun and sort of reference to give you guys some ideas, running 1 in the main deck is not bad. Secret Village of Spellcasters says, if only you control a spellcaster monster, your opponent cannot activate spell cards. And if you control no spellcasters monsters, you cannot activate spell cards. So it's a good way to lock your opponent out of activating spell cards, because we have 2 spellcasters in this deck. We run Lina and Win. So if we are able to have Secret Villager spellcasters up and have one of these guys on the field, we completely lock out your opponent from spell cards. And spells are so important, they're always great removal, they're always searchers, so if we can find a way to shut off our opponent early as possible, then you can basically win the game. Very good Floodgate. This has been used against me while I was playing Sky Strikers. I was playing Sky Strikers against Conclave Control. They managed to bring out a Secret Villager Spellcaster with the Wind Charmer, and I just couldn't play. There was no way of beating it. Ray couldn't beat over the Charmer, and I was absolutely fucked. So this is definitely a good sort of option if you want to play this deck. Maybe leave it on the side if you're going full competitive with this, but if you're just going to do a fun build, this build is fine enough as is. It's just a 1 copy, you probably won't brick with it. It's very cool, very funny thing you can do. As we already mentioned, Rainbow Bridge of Salvation, we're just going to go right into the traps now. Now, what the deck is named after, we run 3 copies of Crystal Conclave. Of course, this deck is Conclave Control, so we run 3 copies of Crystal Conclave. It's a continuous trap card, and once per turn, if a face-up Crystal Beast monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon 1 Crystal Beast monster from your deck. So it's a good way to sort of like recycle through all of your Crystal Beast monsters, which is great for being consistent and not having your opponent just absolutely kill you right away in a battle phase if they're doing some crazy battle tricks. But Crystal Conclave also has a secondary effect, that you can send this face-up card on the field to the graveyard, and you can target 1 Crystal Beast card you control and 1 card on the field, return them to the hand. That's pretty much why the deck is called Conclave Control. So you're basically, what this deck is really doing is trying to control the board as much as possible by bouncing stuff back to your opponent's hand, bouncing stuff to your own hand. You're not going to be running out of resources, and you're having good control over the game state overall. You're using your powerful spells and traps to bounce cards back to your opponent's hand, and keeping your own hand full with good consistent Crystal Beast monsters, so you can use them for your powerful XZs or link plays. So definitely running 3 Crystal Conclave is very important for this build. Run 3 copies of Crystal Miracle. Crystal Miracle is a counter trap, so when a spell, trap card, or monster effect is activated, you can destroy 1 Crystal Beast card you control, and if you do, negate the activation if you do destroy that card. So great overall, pretty much an Omni negate. Crystal Miracle is if you have a Crystal Beast card to pop with it. This card is definitely very important to run at 3 because we want to control the board state as much as we can, so running Crystal Miracle at 3 is very, very important. Crystal Miracle also has a secondary effect, that if a Crystal Beast card is placed in your spell and trap card zone while this card is in your graveyard, even during the damage step, you can banish this card, place 1 Crystal Beast monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard face up in the spell and trap card zone as a continuous spell. You can only use each effect of Crystal Miracle once per turn though, which honestly we don't even mind too much. Rounding off the deck, the final 3 cards, we run 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Imperm is a literal hand trap. Target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, negate its effects, and if you control no cards, you can activate this card from your hand. So it's a good effect negation, definitely run Imperm at 3 in this deck. That does it for the deck. We'll go into the extra deck now. We run 3 rank 4 XZs. Number 41 Bagooska is very good because it's basically just a floodgate that no one likes dealing with. So once per turn during your standby phase, you need to detach 1 material from this card. If you cannot detach, you have to destroy it. So this attack position card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and also cannot be targeted if it's by your opponent's card effects if it's in attack position, which is fine, but we mostly want to use it for its secondary effect. If this card is in face-up defense position, you change all face-up monsters on the field to defense position, and also negate the activated effects of those monsters that are in defense position when this effect is activated. So it's very good at shutting down your opponent from activating monster effects. If you're easily able to bring out Bagooska first turn, your opponent can't activate monster effects on the field, which is just great for shutting them down, taking good control of the game state. So definitely number 41 Bagooska is essential for this build. Abyss Dweller is also very good, especially if you're going against some like graveyard heavy decks. What Abyss Dweller does, it has a quick effect that you can detach 1 material. Your opponent cannot activate any card effects or in the graveyard this turn. So since it's a quick effect, you can activate it during the draw phase or standby phase of your opponent's turns, just so they can't use any of their graveyard effects. It was very relevant around when Tier was the meta, but it can still be devastating depending on what decks you see around now. Just a fun little gimmick card. Number 60 Dugares I find to be very, very good. Just a generic rank 4, but has 3 different powerful effects depending on which one you want to use by detaching 2 materials. You either skip your next draw phase, draw 2 cards and then discard 1. You can skip your next battle phase and double the attack of 1 monster you currently control. Or you can skip your next main phase 1 and special summon a monster from the graveyard. Honestly, Dugares mostly comes in handy for either its battle effect or its draw effect if we're in a tough situation. Not a necessary card to run, but I still find it to be very good and very fun for this deck. I also run 1 copy of Dingirsu, the Orcust of the Evening Star. Dingirsu is very good. It just takes 2 level 8 monsters, which we can use our Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon to make. What I really like about this card is that you can detach 1 material and send 1 card your opponent controls to the graveyard. And that's a non-targeting effect, so it's very good at getting rid of problematic non-targetable monsters. And if you have Necrovalley up, it's great because your opponents cannot bring their monster back then. Also has another effect is that you can also attach 1 of your banished monsters to this card's material, which is just really fucking good because we banish our Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon in order for us to get a Rainbow Dragon search. So it's no problem keeping this guy powerful and well on the field. Speaking of powerful rank 8s, we run the number 97 package. So number 97 package, if you don't know, this can be replaced for any other like number dragon. Maybe number 38 might be a little bit better. I'm just so used to using this one because it was cheaper than number 38 at the time. What number 97 does, you go into him using 2 level 8 monsters. Then you can special summon a number Xyz dragon from your extra deck using another one's material. So if you bring out number 97, what you can do is bring out number 100 with number 107 as material. Then when they're brought out, you can actually activate number 100. You can detach the material. It gains 1000 attack by the combined ranks on the field. So with these guys right here, it's easy to just go up to a 9000 attack number 100. But if you have your other monsters out on the field, like your Dingirsu, your Bagooska, whatever, you can get this guy up to a ridiculous amount of attack and swinging for games. So I think this is definitely a good package to run in this deck. Now ending things with arguably the most powerful Xyz in the game, we also run Divine Arsenal Zeus. Zeus is just great. He's a big 3000 attack and defense machine. You can bring him out by overlaying for an Xyz monster attack this turn. Zeus, not once per chain, can detach 2 materials to completely nuke the field, which is just fucking insane. Zeus was great when Zodiacs were still prominent. They could just attack directly with Borbo and then overlay for Zeus with a bunch of material. But Zeus is still a great control option, definitely very good to run at 1 in this deck. Wrapping things up with the links, we run Lina and also Win. So we have no problem going into either one of these. Win because we have our Cobalt Eagle and our Sapphire Pegasus. So it's easy to go into him, and then Win is good for either stealing a Win monster, which, you know, a lot of Kashtira psychic monster are Wind as well, so it'd be good to kind of steal one of those. But also the fact that if we have Secret Village Spellcasters up, we can just completely block your opponent out from activating spells when either one of these are up. And Lina is easy to bring out because we can use our Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon as link material to go into Lina. Also, Light is just a generic attribute for a lot of decks anyway, so you have no problem stealing a Light monster from your opponent's grave. Depends on the situation, of course, but most likely you are able to do that. 1 copy of IP Masquerena is great. It's a link too, and during your opponent's main phase, you can quick effect immediately after its effects resolves, link summon 1 link monster using materials you control, including this card. And a link monster uses card's material cannot be destroyed with your opponent's card effects, which is really great for when we're going into our bigger links. Bigger links, for example, like Nightmare Unicorn, and we also run the Nightmare Phoenix, just because these are both really good generic sort of staples you can add into any deck. If you're using IP, most likely you're using Nightmare Unicorn or one of our final 2 other link monsters. One, of course, being Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker is fucking insane. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to this card's effect. When he's brought out, you can target 1 monster, 1 link monster in your graveyard. This card gains 1000 attack times its rating, so it's easy to bring this guy up to 5300 if you have a Unicorn in the grave. Also, Axe Code Talker can banish link monsters in the graveyard to pop cards your opponent controls too, so a good field wipe as well. So running Access Code is very, very good. It's still a pricey card right now, so if you want to change this with more budget-friendly Burrow Sword or something like that, that's no problem. But if you really want to go down the competitive route with this deck, definitely invest in the Access Code. But our final card in this deck is another big link, which is very good when it comes to IP. Well, it kind of already has built-in effects anyways, but we also run Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Now this is a link 5, so we're actually able to use one of our opponent's monsters for the link summon of this card. So when it's brought out, you can negate the effects of all face-up monster your opponent currently controls. So this card is unaffected by all your opponent's activated effects unless they target this card. But if we bring it out with IP, this has just made this card really, really powerful. Because not only is it negating all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls, it also has another quick effect that if your opponent special summons a monster from the graveyard, you can quick effect just negate the activation. A few reasons why this is really good is the fact that if we don't have Necrovalley up and your opponent's playing a graveyard heavy deck, it's good to sort of like have some interruption to play with it. And also if we bring it out with IP Masquerade, it's a very tough card to kind of get over. So I think if we're kind of done with the whole control route and we want to start getting aggressive with this deck, definitely these two are the main sort of boss monsters that we want to use when we're going in for the kill with this deck. So that does it for the profile. This is of course very well open for interpretation. I think Crystal Beasts are very good, sort of universal sort of deck. So I also have a rank 4 Crystal Beast deck if you want to check that out on the channel. But this is just a cool alternative if you want to play a more control route of Crystal Beast. Conclave Control is really, really good right now. It was a little bit better when Tira Elements were dominating the meta, so not really sure how this will face up against Kashtira, but either way it's still a really fun deck that I definitely recommend you guys try out. If you have any other suggestions, please let me know in the comments. But overall that's it, please like and subscribe and watch out for more content on the way.